I was not the popular girl in school. In fact, I'll never forget in sixth grade in Mr. Hoyle's class, wanting so desperately to be in what he had established as his third line, a line that he had handpicked, made up of what he considered to be the best kids in his class, teachers' pets, if you will, that got to be in this exclusive line of kids who would always get to walk from our classroom to the lunchroom or from our classroom to the bathroom or to recess or wherever first. He supposedly formed this line to incentivize us to behave better. So we too could get into this third line and get that privilege to be among the first to walk down the hall and lead the way. But the truth is, we all knew that he had his favorites already, and only the most quiet, shy girls would really ever make it into the third line because boys were much too rowdy, and girls like me who like to talk too much just didn't have the chance to be in this coveted third line. So we had a separate boys line, a girls line, and then this coveted third line. And I mean to tell you, as hard as I would try, I could not make it into the third line. I would not make a peep in the classroom, and Mr. Hoyle would still totally overlook me. I never one time that whole sixth grade year made it into this third line as hard as I tried. And the biggest irony of all was that it was really the most popular girls in school in this line. The best behaved, the best Christian girls were the quiet ones and the shy ones usually. And that again was not me at our Christian school. But that was what was popular. And so I got the message loud and clear. Your personality is too much for around here. You would be much more liked and accepted and popular if only you were a bit more under the radar and quiet. As we dive into this idea of sort of returning our desire to please back to God and the focus being on pleasing Him alone, I know that you might be thinking, I don't care about being popular. I'm a mom living every day. I don't do social media even. I don't think about popularity. I wasn't a cool kid in school either, but I'm over that all these years later. I'm not famous. I don't want to be. But that's not what this is about, because the idol of popularity is really about wanting approval by others. And that takes on many different forms. It looks like a lot of different things. And it's something I think we can all in some way relate to. When my daughter was a tween, we made a significant memory together when I took her to her first concert for a really popular pop music artist at the time who shall remain unnamed, but has the initials J and B. And this was when he was at the height of his popularity, really still a teen himself. But young girls were going crazy for him, and even some moms, honestly, who knew better but had shown up for this concert with purple glitter in their hair. It was like a whole thing, believe me. And I remember that in the midst of all the madness of the concert that night, as I was thinking back when JB first started out, a tiny little musical protege, I was thinking to myself, this man has always been so talented. But when he first started out, it was all so simple because it was truly just all about the music back then. There was no crowd in the beginning days. There was no stadium, no chanting audience. There was no sold out venue. It was just about the music. He didn't have to please the fans. And I remember thinking, I wonder if he ever wishes it was just about the music anymore, because now it's about something else entirely. Now he has to mostly just please the audience. He has to cater to us. He has to feed us what we want and what we're demanding, because that's what the little g God of popularity requires of us, no matter who we are or what is our circumstance. See, there's a cycle of popularity that happens. Here's what happens in the cycle. We want to be popular. We want to be loved, accepted by others. We seek it out, which then creates motives, which then dictates our actions, and we then tend to live as a people pleaser. More specifically, here's what popularity, and remember what we're talking about here is the approval of man. Here's what people pleasing does to us. One, it changes what we want and what we fight for. In our Bible verse for this session, Galatians 1:10, it says this, I am not trying to please people. I want to please God. Paul was writing to the church at Galatia here, talking about how off mission he would be if his goal was anything but serving Christ in preaching a strong message that was contrary to the message others were preaching. The easier, more popular thing to do would have been to preach what people wanted to hear. And this is why we have to let go of the idol of approval, because it gets in the way of our true mission, which is to serve the gospel of Jesus Christ. Up to now, we might have seen people pleasing as something that has simply not worked well for us by way of self-esteem, but it's much more than that. It's not only idolatry, but it's gotten us to live a mission other than the one God has for us to live. Two, it changes the convictions we're willing to hold and the conversations we're willing to have. See, when our desire to be liked and admired takes over, we will shy away from the important and often hard conversations we need to have for fear that people will no longer love us if we hold to a different conviction. The fact is, they so often need to hear that differing perspective when delivered in truth and love. Three, it changes our dependence on God and can form pride within us. When our eyes are on the prize of becoming popular, and if we succeed, it lessens our focus on the true goal of growing in the wisdom and humility of becoming like Christ. We receive our confidence from how others perceive and endorse us rather than from God's approval of us. I want you to really think about this right now. How has your desire to please people changed what you were willing to talk about, what you were willing to fight for, what you were chasing after, what you love, what you were willing to do and be and even change? And what might happen if you got back to wanting God more than you wanted people to love you? Can you imagine being called out by Jesus, especially in front of other people? In Matthew 6, Jesus called the Pharisees on the carpet for their righteous public displays of giving to the poor. But it wasn't the only time he would do this. In fact, he did this on multiple occasions as he was constantly calling them out for the way they wanted others to approve of their intellect or acts of service, or at least the perception of these things. The perception of greatness was what they were really after, and this was their main pursuit, even while they pretended to be the religious elite. In Matthew 23, he called them out again, this time for their displays of overimportance, from how they presented themselves and the way they dressed to stand out and say, "Look at me, how important I am," to how they prayed very important prayers, self-important that is, to how they segregated themselves by where they sat at the table and held titles they made sure people called them by. All of this was to bask in just how very important they were, so they would feel special, and so others would make sure they were feeling special too. John 12:43 summarizes it all up well when he writes of the Pharisees, and they loved human praise more than the praise of God. Now, we don't like to think of ourselves like the Pharisees in any way, but think about these moments in life when we crave human praise to the point that we aren't thinking of the praise of God. Specifically, we crave these things. Number one, acceptance. To feel a part of something important, part of a group, part of a family. This is why church and community are so important, because those are good things. Number two, unconditional love. To be loved for who we are, fully, completely, without strings, parameters, or conditions. Number three, known. To be recognized fully and completely. Number four, significance. To leave a legacy and feel as though we matter. And not that those things are wrong in the desiring of them. It is not wrong to want to be accepted or known or significant or certainly unconditionally loved. But when we want it so much that we are willing to seek those things by means other than God to get them, we take matters into our own hands, and it often goes so very wrong. I love what the psalmist says in Psalm 42:1, "As the deer longs for streams of water, so I long for you, O God." It's the craving of God that has us desiring to please him. And yes, it's the craving of the world that has us craving its attention and approval. So the question is, by whose attention and approval you are seeking, which does that tell you who you truly crave? The one who is worthy of your attention, your love, your focus, your soul's desire is the one who knows you and loves you most. I never cease to wonder why, with the great love that stands in front of us on a daily basis, who can meet our every need, fill our every emptiness and longing, that we run in a direction that has us constantly unfulfilled, looking for anyone and everyone else to be our anything and everything. And time again, they prove they never will. The applause will never be enough. The pats on the back, the proud look in someone's eye, even the barrage of compliments. You can have 1 million social media followers and it will never, ever be enough. You'll want just one more. 1,000,001, please. It's never ending, a bottomless pit. Approval and popularity by other people is a game with an ever evolving score. The needle always moves. You'll never keep up with the needle. The one who you want their approval, they can pull it as soon as they give it. They offer it to you on their terms, so make sure that you stay in their good graces. Can I just put something down that I hope you'll pick up? One day when you get good and tired of the popularity game, when you get really weary of constantly trying to prove yourself and trying to get people to love you and like you, I hope that you will remember these things. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Psalm 139:13. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. Psalm 139:1. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Psalm 139:3. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. Psalm 139:4. Yes, you have been with me from my birth. From my mother's womb, you have cared for me. Psalm 71:6. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still with me. Psalm 139:17 and 18. This God, your God, my friend, is the one your soul really wants. You might have been out there chasing the approval and affections of others. You might hope for more and more people to like you and love you and include you and elevate you and think you are smart and wonderful. But at the end of the day, your soul wants what it was made to want. It knows what to crave. We can ignore it for a moment. We can redirect it for a time. But there will come a point when the longing will be so deep and powerful that all that is within us will cry out, I want more than what this shallow, temporary popularity has given me in my life. And then you are at the place to come back to the real thing. Come back to your Creator, God.